Our story begins with footprints in ancient sand as the first human wanderers follow the water, scatter seeds, and choose to stay. Villages rise, then cities, built on the revolutionary idea that the earth could be cultivated, that a harvest could be planned. Along the fertile banks of the Nile, the Indus, and the rivers of Mesopotamia, this idea took root. Granaries swelled with surplus, and from a simple tally of grain, societies learned to build laws, levy taxes, and raise temples to the heavens. Across the Yellow River Basin and the Americas, terraced fields supported burgeoning states. Order was the new currency. On the Silk Roads, caravans of strangers learned to trust a ruler they would never meet, bound by the shared language of weights, measures, and powerful stories. Great empires, the Persian, the Mauryan, the Han, forged templates of governance with roads and edicts, while new philosophies sought to make sense. A period of exchange so vast it was shattered only by a plague that shook the foundations of the old world. Out of this upheaval, oceans turned into highways of risk and profit. A sailor grips a salt-soaked rope, the air thick with the scent of tar, sugar, and wet wood. European voyages connected continents, triggering the Columbian Exchange. Diets were transformed, but so were destinies, as new germs decided who would live and who would die. In this remade world, a question began to spread, carried by telescopes and cheap pamphlets. If we can understand the stars, can we not also understand and judge the power of kings? That question ignited revolutions. In America, a declaration traveled by horse and whisper. In Haiti, the enslaved fought for their own freedom. The idea that power rests with the people began to topple thrones. At the same time, workshops swelled into factories. Steam and steel multiplied labor, pulling millions into smoky cities as new empires followed railway tracks across the globe. But these rival empires soon crashed into two world wars. Ideologies like fascism and communism promised order but delivered terror, leaving the stain of the Holocaust upon human conscience. An atomic blast ushered in a nuclear age, and a long Cold War drew rigid lines across the map. Yet, from beneath the banners of empire, new voices rose. Across Africa and Asia, nations demanded their own names, their own futures. Today, we live in the world they made, a world linked by fiber optics and code, where villages connect to global markets in an instant. But the past is never far. We wrestle with its consequences in the form of inequality and a strained climate. We see its patterns in pandemics that loop the globe, and we face its questions as we edit the human genome and ask what role artificial intelligence will play in our lives. This entire history is reflected on your plate, in your vote, and on your phone. The great question is no longer just where we came from, but how our ordinary choices will now steer our shared global future.